All right, hello guys. We're live. Let me put out the tweet to let folks know we're live. Nobody ever looks at this tweet, but I have to do it anyway. Give me 1 second. We are live. Oh yeah. Okay. We are good to go. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Darian Talks UTSA. It is hot. I just got through doing a workout, so excuse me for the sweating, but we're good to go now. So thanks for everyone for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. Tell a friend, do your thing. We have some UTSA stuff to talk about. Obviously, last week there was some definite drama that wasn't necessarily football related, but UTSA related, and it's just relative, it's related to all of the football sort of things too. There was a lot of talk about NIL. I don't know if you guys seen it. I don't know if you got how much you guys were aware and plugged into what was going on, but there was some NIL drama. If you guys did not catch all of the stuff on Twitter from last week, and yeah, I'm going to unpack a lot of that stuff that went on. I also have heard a few things about what's going on in camp, but it's been pretty airtight for the most part. I don't know if I'll actually get to make it up there because I don't know if I'll get information on when the scrimmages are, because I want to go up there for a scrimmage. I'm not going to go up there to report, so there's not much of anything I'll be able to share on of what exactly happened. I could probably give some general thoughts and comments on it, but I at least want to lay eyes on the team, so on and so forth. I've been talking with the communications director up there, Cal, someone who I have a pretty good relationship with. So I'll try to get what I can on that, but we'll see. And then there's an interview, the PlayFly folks, which if you guys don't know, PlayFly Sports and PlayFly Max, they are the sort of third-party company that UTSA hired to handle a lot of their NIL engagements, to handle some of the media and marketing things that they're trying to do. I know I talked about trying to get the new NIL GM on the show. I have some thoughts as to why he has not come on my show. He went on I think the Ticket 760 with those guys there. So it's an interesting interview. There was a couple tidbits that I took from that I like to discuss as well. But okay, anyway, we'll roll into it. Make sure you guys fill up the comment box with any questions or topics that you guys want. I have a couple coming in from Twitter that I'll touch on as well. And yeah, we'll go from there. So they do have scrimmages on here. I did not look at it. Shout out to Danny. Danny just let me know when the scrimmages are. Perfect. In that case, I'm going to, that scrimmage on the 26th is probably going to see me. I'll be there. Okay. Yeah, the 12th, I'm actually going out of town. Shout out to Danny. For whatever reason, I didn't like zoom into the camera or zoom into the photo. Shout out to Danny for letting me know that. So yeah, the 26th, I'll probably try to make it up to San Antonio. If you guys are around and would like to talk, hang, or whatever for a little bit after the scrimmage, let me know. Maybe we can do some sort of meet and greet event or something like that. Anyway, all right. The first thing I want to talk about is the NIL drama with UTSA men's basketball. So if you guys did not see, 3 former players basically took to Twitter and basically, I forget their names already. Oh man, that sucks. Sorry. But anyway, 3 players basically took to Twitter and accused UTSA of not being truthful in what their NIL funds were supposed to be. And they claimed that they didn't get paid, so on and so forth. The player who did, his name is Damari Monsanto. And his tweets are still up if you guys have not seen it. But basically, he says the first tweet that I seen him post in regards to this was lying about some bread ain't real at all, and then it shows you, which allegedly is the coach Clonch, saying we can get you 125 right now. the player asking, is that just straight NIL? And then the coach basically saying, yeah, we got 125 straight NIL, just like we got the 25K this morning. And we'll be getting more of that coming during the year. So are you committing? That's basically what the coach said. The player then also said, why did my head coach block my number? So one of the interesting things about that piece was Greg Luca interviewed some of the folks at UTSA, and he got a quote from the head basketball coach basically saying, look, I did not block his number. And that was pretty much all he said. That's all he said. He deferred to UTSA spokesperson for any other comments regarding the situation. That spokesperson said that UTSA fulfilled all of the basically the contractual dollars that was owed to said players. To me, that tells you a couple things. Number one, I thought it was interesting that the coach did not deny that, didn't deny the text messages, because there was some speculation on Twitter that I seen that folks basically said, I think it's doctored. I don't think this really happened, so on and so forth. I'm gonna tell you something right now, folks. There's a reason that coach didn't say anything, and I know these coaches a lot of the time, and we're talking about the men's basketball coach here. I talked to some people. This sucks because I don't want to cast him out to be a bad person. I think he's come over to UTSA with a great reputation. I think he's had a solid, the basketball team wanted to do better, of course, but they were coming from a very rough spot, and I think there's some momentum about what he can do. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him at the luncheon last year. Seemed like a nice fella. And but yeah, I have heard some interesting things about the way he operates, and there's some people that I've heard good and just a little bit of bad, but this bad stuff comes around situations like this, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. I don't know him at all, but what I will tell people is coaches will say anything to get a coach to commit. They will say anything. And lying is a big part of their job. I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you have never been recruited, or I'm telling you from experience on how coaches will lie, they'll bend the truth pretty hard. It's their they have a responsibility to bring in certain types of players, and it can get real sticky out here because you're competing with all the other colleges in the world, people in the conference, and things like that on these type of players. And you have to do something to get those players to commit and come to your school. Once you get them on campus, you'll figure out the promises and how you can make that situation sweet, or try to deliver on as many of those promises as you can. But they're 1000% are every single coach in every single situation, they're going to stretch the truth some, or talk in a way that can lead you down a path that may not be as exactly surefire as you may think. And to be completely honest, looking at this situation, obviously he posted the screenshot, so that was pretty direct. That's pretty blatant. And to me, at that point, with the coach not denying that he was the person who sent those text messages, there is something to be said about the ethical practices that we are having around around recruiting, right? But to me, at the end of the day, that's a slap on the wrist. That's a warning from his boss to yo, be careful, number one, on what you say through text message. In fact, don't text if you can't, if you can help it. And number two, you gotta try your best to run a buttoned up program. And when things like this happens, it hurts the reputation of UTSA. I think the thing that sucks about it the most is that that was a viral situation, right? I call it G5 viral, where it's not viral enough to where it's going to be talked about on ESPN like it would be at some of these big school, Power 5 schools and things like that. But to me, I seen the Memphis, someone who was in that covers Memphis basketball tweeted, and I seen 20,000, 30,000 views on the tweet, 1,000+ likes on the tweet, highlighting and explaining, what's going on. And I seen all these people coming in talking about UTSA basketball and UTSA in general and how they overpromise on NIL. And to me, if you're trying to recruit and you're trying to bring people in with the portal and stuff open and things like that, you don't want a story like that out there that is going to hurt. Like I was in sort of a discussion with one of my close friends about this, and we were talking about like largely his point was, at the end of the day, like, it sucks. It's gonna it's a bad look, but it's not going to impact much. There are still going to be guys who are going to take. We're still going to be able to like give out the scholarships. Guys are going to take those scholarships. And I absolutely agree with that point. But at the same time, what happens to that recruit that, you're neck and neck with someone, right? And now he has a question that the NIL money that we're promising him, he has a question if those promises are empty or just are they valid or not, right? When you bring that type of question into a situation for a kid to have to make a decision, if it's between, UTSA and another school, they're going to go with that other school, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them, right? So to me, it's just bad timing. It's unfortunate. And one of the things I thought was really unfortunate was seeing some of the people in the comments talk about, UTSA not paying, and then seeing those other two players, like I said, jump under this Twitter post and all claim that they did not get the money that they were promised. So to me, I just think that that staff has to re-examine what they're saying to players, because where there's smoke, there's fire. That's what it comes down to. 3 players are not just going to randomly say something and it just all be untrue. Yeah, or is it going to be a little bit biased in their situation? Or are they going to feel a certain way and feel a little nasty about some of the things that about that coaching staff now, especially with them not playing there? Where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm sure they're investigating things on their own and making sure that we are running a button-up program. But I think some of those practices, if true, or assuming those true, you gotta really question the ethics on how we are recruiting some players. And yeah, it's a tough situation. Get in the chat and let me know what you guys think about that situation. I just think it's really unfortunate, and we're already not a big school with NIL in the first place. I don't think we should do anything to shoot ourselves in the foot to make us less attractive from that standpoint, considering that we don't have a ton of NIL resources to begin with. But I also think it's interesting, the things I've gotten a lot more direct feedback and knowledge and sort of inside track on how Traylor sort of runs his camp on the whole NIL front. And it seems first class. It seems buttoned up, and there are no empty promises. There's at least not to my knowledge. I've heard that he runs a tight ship with that type of thing, and he's really, he cares about the players enough to where I don't think he'd put them in that position. So anyway, we got to clean that up. All right, I'll go into a couple of the questions. Okay, Kermit, how do you think they move forward with Coach Clonch, and how would you handle it following the NIL news? That's a great question. So listen, considering they have him on $500,000 a year, so you're paying him some good money. He is a coach that has come over with a lot of hype. He's young. He seems energetic about the program. He seems like he is, excited about what he could do with UTSA, and he brings, from what I've seen anyway, an infectious personality that I think that folks can get behind. So I don't think you punt on that. You don't fire that. I seen someone. It's actually a friend of mine. I seen Carolina, and I like Carolina a lot. We go way back from, I think I first met Carolina whenever we were doing ESPN radio with Ari Timken back in San Antonio. This was probably, probably 7-8 years ago. So I've come to San Antonio just to do her radio show multiple times. So I consider her a friend. But she has some pretty strong comments and thoughts about that situation, and she was saying, hey, like if this is actually true and he did this, he should be fired. And there are some people who agree with that. I respectfully disagree with that, all because I've seen coaches lie in recruiting. They've always done this. This is not new. I mean, yes, it's a little bit more egregious because you're making an empty promise. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know if you uproot your program and basically start over. You know what I'm saying? You don't basically start over because of this situation. Like I said, you give them a slap on the wrist. You ask them, you know, you probably put a little bit more guardrails about what needs to be done from a recruiting standpoint. You probably, question some of their strategies and how we're going to get players. What system are we going to, what are we deploying to attract players to our school? Because these types of things can't happen. And I think some of this also goes down to, what if it's a situation where he thought that he did, it's very possible that he thought that he did have $125,000 lined up for this player. I know a lot of people speculate that can't happen. It's UTSA. I seen people attacking the players and the player was dumb because he expected that much money from UTSA. Bro, y'all got to understand, or not y'all, but the proverbial y'all, you have to understand that these are kids we're talking about. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, right? They don't see the world like some of us, some adults who's, middle-aged or, in their 30s that's been around the block for a little bit that are able to spot some of these sorts of things. To me, I think that's where adequate representation comes into play here, right? And not representation from a particular school, right? Like you can't rely on the school in-house to be the thing that like decides or for them to present what your NIL deal is going to look like. For them to say, hey, we're gonna do XYZ to get this particular contract in place, so on and so forth. Number one, like most schools are not going, like most schools are going to act in the interest of that school, not always necessarily in the interest of the player. That's a big point or a big side of it. Number two, I think even the guys who are in the portal and stuff like that, if these coaches are doing all this, what's the name stuff, like you got to have contracts already. You got to have contracts ready to go if you're going to make these promises, right? But to me, it's just you got to have some. You need a situation where these people are leveraging a third party in some way, shape, or form that can at least help consult them. Like, hey, you know what? This coach is telling me this. What should I do? What should be my comeback? What should I, you know what I'm saying? Like these are the type of things. So I saw a lot of people attacking the player, saying the player, is at fault here because he thought, why would he think UTSA can do this? Man, I'm telling you, these coaches, when they're recruiting, are so good at their job. They make you feel like $1 million. And then they talk about, they're going to, like, you got to think about it, right? A lot of the times these coaches are going to, when they're selling NIL to a kid, right? They are going to sell, for the most part, the top end of what the top player could be getting at their particular school, to sell sort of a dream. Like, hey, this could be you if you come in and do an XYZ. They're not going to say, hey, well, we can't really get you anything big, unless you just literally can't, but can't really get you anything big. We can get you a couple $100 here or there, but that's about it. Yeah, you're not going to get any, but nobody's going to commit to that, right? So, they're going to make it. They're going to make the situation sound as sweet as they can, and yeah, it's hard for some of these guys to duck some of this stuff, or to be safe throughout some of this stuff anyway. Anthony says, regarding the NIL news with the men's basketball team, do you think our AD will provide a statement soon? Have you yet to see? Absolutely not. It's going to be handled internally. They don't like to do that kind of thing because they don't want to make it bigger than what it is. So no, she's not going to say anything about it. I wouldn't either, though, to be completely honest. You handle that in-house. Like I said, you give him a slap on the wrist, let him know, hey, bro, we got to clean up our recruiting strategies. We got to watch what we say and through texts. Lesson learned. I don't think he should lose his job. Um, I don't know if they fine coaches and stuff like that on a college level, but like, if it was proven that he actually sent those messages and that's what it was, I would fine him on the basis of it got out. But coaches, it's not a new thing that coaches is bending the truth or not being straight up or or putting out empty promises. That's not a foreign thing. That happens every single time. You can ask anybody who's been recruited in some way, shape, or form. Like, for example, I'll tell y'all one empty promise that we got from the original 18. You see all the Park West, all this stuff that they're building now. They told us that they'd have a lot of that done within our 4 or 5 years being there from the red shirt on. You know, it took like what 8, 9 years to get that thing rolling. If y'all would have seen what they promised us in the first 4 years, you'd be shocked. They did not deliver on most of that, right? And that's what I mean. I think I still have the pamphlet somewhere where it told us based on like what their roadmap was for year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, all of that stuff didn't get done to like year 8 or 9 or something like that. And some of it's still not done. Yeah, so yeah, I don't expect her to provide a statement, by the way. Burst up to you as well. Anthony says, if this NIL concern turns out to be bigger than we expect, do you see our other sports programs getting investigated? I don't. That's what I mean. Like some of the discourse on Twitter, and this is me trying to be as respectful as possible when I say this. Some of the discourse on Twitter could benefit from folks who have been in the position of being recruited, even like being recruited at UTSA or just being recruited at all. These types of things happen. Like don't get me wrong. So let me back that up. Don't get me wrong. It looks bad. Like let's just be very clear about that. It's not a good look to be in this situation. And like I said, there does need to be a look into the ethical, just the ethics of our recruiting practices. I mean, I think that's a fair thing to look at as it relates to the basketball team, so on and so forth, right? Because this did come out and it is a bad look, and it's a bad look on the program, and it can hurt a lot of things. But at the same time, a lot of this stuff just happens every day. It just does. Like if you fire a coach for stretching the truth to a recruit, you're never gonna have a coaching staff. So I don't see it being. I don't. To me, the lesson has already been taught because it was so public. I guarantee you, every single coach at UTSA was checking their Twitters and seeing this stuff, and are very aware of what's going on. And to me, that is what it is. But like who knows what the athletic director or whoever who are going to come down on these people, what they're going to say. They're just going to say clean it up, make sure we're clean, make sure we're buttoned up, and let this make sure this does not happen again. That'll be the biggest thing you hear. Greg Luca put out a great article. Seemed like they were paid from the collective, but verbal agreements might have been made that weren't fulfilled. Yep. Like I alluded to Greg Luca's article as well. Yeah, I think it's sort of unfortunate that it came out the way it did. Extreme says coaches don't have to be the player's best friend, but they should be honorable to their promises. Should they? No. So yes, they should be. But like I said, some of it you do have to lead them down a path. And here's another thing I will say. And this is me trying to look at it from both sides, because yes, the player felt wrong, but this could be a situation where UTSA, the coach legitimately thought that we had a deal or a sponsorship deal or something like that lined up for a top athlete that, they could pull money together and get this guy the money he thought. He could have legitimately thought that. That could be a real thing. And maybe a company or somebody pull their money. That's a 100% realistic type of situation. So like you can't just ignore that side of it, but also too, if I'm a coach, right, I might say, look, I can get you. This is probably what a lot's happening. All right, boom. Soon as you step on campus, you commit to us and you do whatever. Like we got a deal lined up for you for, I don't know, 10 grand, right? In order, but there might be, I mean, but like even just think, let's take that 10 grand, right? The players have an obligation to perform some sort of duty to be able to get that $10,000. Some sort of promotional marketing duty. That could be sending out a tweet, that could be posting a video or something like that. So on the player side, they have obligations they have to fulfill as well to be able to get the money that they are expecting. But a lot of it comes into like performance incentives as well. It's like you're not going to, like, listen, you can tell a player, hey, your potential, right? Because the way you can kind of look at it is they're going to be the players in this NIL space are going to be in highly, it's no different than a highly incentivized contract with a very low or relatively low guaranteed, right? So like they may like I said, they may say, hey, we're going to give you 10 grand as soon as you come here, right? You might get that 10 grand. But but you could earn 50 if in season one you accomplish this, this, and this. And if these people accomplish this, this is probably going to make them more marketable to folks around San Antonio. This is going to make them maybe a star player on the team, so on and so forth. And it's going to put them in a position to where now they are a priority as it pertains to NIL and as it pertains to the team. The more notable the people are, the more likely they're going to be able to cash in big on NIL. So like there's sort of this song and dance that both player and coach have to play, understanding that, yeah, there's going to be some guaranteed money here, but like you're going to have to cross certain thresholds to get some of the other money because that's just the way it is. Let's see. One of the other things I wanted to chat about really quick, I wanted to throw this in here before I finish the rest of the questions, before I go back to some of the rest of the questions, was because I think I think folks are starting to ask, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so there's one thing I want to give some thoughts on. I want to give some thoughts on PlayFly Sports interview. Just because there are some people who sort of asked me about this because I and let me see if there's any, scan the comments here to see if anybody else has asked me about this in this chat here. Okay, no. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this real quickly because yeah, the PlayFly Sports interview with the guys on Ticket 760, someone tagged me under it, and I think they tagged me under it because, like I said I reached out to see if I can get them on my show. They said maybe sometime later in the year or something like that, but then they went and did this show, or at least one of the guys, not both, went and did this show. And here's sort of my response to this. I think, and I think Andy Everett hosts that, is on the Ticket 760, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's the one who did the interview, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong by that, but he's been around for a while, and they listen. UTSA has like media partners that they really respect, and they work with. I think I fall into a weird category because, and I don't think they know what to do with that, because like I have, and some of this could be me too, not going through the proper channels to get some of these interviews. I think, and I know Nick used to do a lot of it. Like we're credentialed, we were credentialed. I'm still credentialed. There can get credentials there, but I don't seek a lot of this stuff. But and these other people do. But my take on that is the Ticket 760 has a much bigger platform than I have. Number one, and I think that they don't I don't know if they want their folks interacting on this channel um, very much. I have found it rather difficult when I have tried um, to get folks to show up on to come on this show that are like at UTSA. They don't have a problem talking to me directly, but coming on my show, I don't for whatever reason, I think it's a no-no. Um, I have no idea why because I think I could be wrong about this, but I think I mean, y'all let me know in the comments. Do a lot of the folks within the like UTSA atmosphere do they go on like the Alamo Audible guys show? I'd be curious to hear from you guys on that if they do. But I think these sort of fan media type deals, um, I don't think that's more of a like a more of a, your standard traditional media type thing, and this is probably considered the new media. So yeah, it's all good. Um, we'll talk to him at some point, I'm sure, but not a big deal. I think some people expected me to be upset about it, and I was just like, bro, I I'm not I don't care that much about it. It is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to like some people, and I think some of the people who reached out, y'all were nice. I appreciate it, but it's not a big deal. Um, let's roll back into the questions. Hello, Carol. Always good to see and hear from you. Batfoy says anything not on paper is he says she said, and it's hard to determine who's in the right and wrong. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. Let's see. The only silver lining from this is that we don't have a Longhorn or Aggie logo on our jersey, so it'll blow over pretty quickly. Yeah, I think it's already blown over. I think it's already blown over. Yeah, nobody's talking about it that much anymore. At least not that I can see. I mean, I'm probably the last one. I think I did see a tweet that the Alamo guys may have talked about it on this week's podcast, but yeah, we'll see. Let's see. I also think there's a scenario where the booster that was going to provide the money retracted the offer after several underwhelming results. And that puts, yeah, absolutely. That's a weird thing. That's a weird thing. That's a weird thing. But there's a way to mitigate that. If a coach, I don't know if there's a way to mitigate that. Like I have. It's what's tricky about it is I know that some I have an idea of how Coach Traylor goes about that to make sure the money is good. I don't want to share too much, but I some you can tell like some coaches will know the money is good. I mean, obviously they can always get the wool pulled from under them, but yeah, it's a tricky situation though. Max says, "Do you have any general opinions about the amount of UTSA football posts showing spring ball and some highlights, whether about players or the format of the vids? Do you have any general opinions about the new amounts?" I got a question for you on this one, Max. When you say, are you asking this, or I guess yeah, my question to you is, are you saying that there's not enough posts? Um, of there's not enough posts from UTSA on some of this stuff or from the spring ball. Um, I'm just curious your thoughts on it. But here's what I'll say. I don't my general opinion to answer your question more directly is I don't like what's coming out of it. If I'm being honest, I don't like the amounts. I don't think it's enough. It's not generating much at all. It's not generating any excitement, in my opinion, because it's tricky. It doesn't. I'm just not. I'm like some of the clips are cool. I think they did a really special thing from the trainers. I thought that was nice, but you're not seeing anything. You're not seeing anything. Like these little 20-second clips, they've shown a couple plays here or there, but like they're just really just showing drills and stuff like that. It's like to me, and I love to hear from y'all on this. At what like how much like how much is too much stealth? Oh, we don't want to expose our players to XYZ, right? We don't want them to get poached in the portal. We're not going to have a spring game. You know, I was jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm seeing guys posting from UNT. I'm seeing guys from UNT posting up at the scrimmages and stuff like that. I'm like, Jesus, that's not gonna be us this year, you know. Um, and like I said, I'm probably gonna attend the last scrimmage, but it'd be great to be able to go to that scrimmage and report. Like, here's the thing: media can't go. I have the media schedule, right? The media can't report on that scrimmage. On none of the scrimmage days, media can report. Can't report. You go to watch for your own knowledge. That's what you do. Like, I don't even know if media can be there, honestly. I don't think that's a media engagement type deal. I'm gonna check it real quick. I'm gonna check it right now. I don't think media. Yeah, I have the schedule. Where's the schedule at? I have the media schedule. And I don't think, let's see. Yeah, no. The last day the media will be able to report, or yeah, that are allowed to report. Um, yeah, the last day is March 24th. That scrimmage is on the 26th. So yeah, that media won't be there. I'll be there, but I can't report on it. Yeah, crazy, right? But anyway, so I don't think we're seeing enough personally. It's like part of creating the excitement. I think a large part of creating excitement for the upcoming season is what you see in the spring, bro. I understand not having a spring game, but like give us something. Like showing us a couple plays of a couple big plays, like some nice stuff, even some cool stuff in drills that we can see some of these players do their thing. Like, yeah, it's not enough. I'm glad that's a great question though, because yeah, I wish we'd seen a lot more than we have. Batfoy says half a mil for NIL at UTSA men's basketball seems a bit much for what we're getting in return. Half a mil. No, no, wait, okay. Half a mil toward NIL soccer would probably get us tier one. When I referenced half a mil, I was talking about what Coach Clonch. I was talking about his salary. I think he's earning $500,000 a year, not saying he has $500,000 to spend on NIL. No. Coach Traylor barely has that for football. Um, let's see. I think this just all right. David says, "Did you see the billboard the conference put out for us throughout San Antonio?" So I seen one. Let me see. Let me go look because I seen the billboard where like UTSA was welcoming like Final Four people. Is that the billboard you're referencing? Let's see. The American welcomes you to the homes of UTSA in South Florida for the men's and women's Final Four. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but yeah, it's all right. David says, wait, no. I already read that one. Batford says, can you imagine if we took that $500,000 and gave each star, we'd have a top. Yeah, I think I screwed you over whenever I said he's getting a half a mil. Yeah, I'm talking about his salary. Um Batfoy says the only reason I think UTSA admins would be hesitant to tell reps to go on your show is because you're not their puppet. Yeah, yeah, probably. And I am I am okay with some of the criticisms from like folks on Twitter and just in general. I'm gonna speak, you know how I am. I mean, the show's name started as Roadrunners Unfiltered, so I'm gonna always speak my mind and be as honest as I possibly can. Because a lot of folks don't do that. I am not trying to make friends. I would love to make friends, but I am not actively trying to do that with my content. My content is just going to be like definitely want to build a big community and do more and stuff like that. But I think the foundational element of my show is to be real about the sport I love and the university I love as well. So yeah, it's rap says at this point you have to pay to hear anything from Alamo Audible. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. It's a difficult it's a difficult it's a tricky business, man. It's a tricky business. Like I can't blame them, but the core of your I mean, I don't know what they do, but the core of your content, in my opinion, should be free. And then the extras is what you can put a paywall in front of. I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. Which I am going to start doing extras on this show. But yeah, this my main thing will always be my main thing, man. Not putting a paywall in front of that. Elijah says, I know some fans of a certain school near us will remember this for longer than we will remember. Absolutely. Yeah, you can cash that one. Absolutely. Um, but it's embarrassing if I'm just being honest. Like I mean, objectively, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I did want to shout out to Angela. Birds up, sharing like absolutely. Thanks so much. Um, it's rap says at this point you have to pay to hear anything from Alamo Audible. Stop watching because I can't. I can't at this point. Are they really? Are they really? Are they really? What's their payment thing like? I'm curious. Um, is it that bad? There's no their show has to be free, right? I would think so. I don't know. Shout out to Danny. Danny says having some new faces of the program would help grow the brand and the city. Hopefully, we get that soon. Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of that's going to have to do with. I mean, you know, they got to promote Owen McCown more. I think the type of momentum he ended the season with, you gotta find a way to make him a more of a household name in the city. I think that's really really important. Um, but it's just gonna come with a little bit of time. I think UTSA still trying to figure out things, and I think you can bridge that gap. It's one of the things. So Jarvion Williams, if you for those of you who remember Jarvion, he wasn't gone for not that long. But I've had him on the show. Really, still a really good friend of mine. He came to my housewarming and things like that. That was the last time I seen him. But anyway, he tweeted me and he asked me about like basically, not having relationships with some of the former athletes or something like that. Um, is that sort of a reason? Do I think that's sort of a reason that there's a lack of support? Let me see what he said exactly. I don't want to miss him. He said, "Do you think the lack of university ties plays a key role in the lack of support?" Yeah, probably. And that was my answer to him. It was sort of like, yeah, probably. Because to me, like you see this stuff at bigger schools where obviously these are bigger schools that have all these big NFL athletes. Like you look at the wave right now where Steph Curry is the assistant GM at Davidson. Trey Young is the assistant GM now at Oklahoma, and they're committing. I think Steph Curry's committing to like helping raise 10 million, not 10 million from his pocket, but helping raise 10 million. I think Trae Young, he's committed 1 million himself to the program that'll go toward funding the basketball team and things like that. So obviously UTSA doesn't have those things, right? But that does not mean that like when you look at those players, they are huge ambassadors of their sport, or their school, right? Like, yes, obviously Steph Curry is this huge megastar, right? But he's going back to his school and he's sort of helping them out and bringing them more notoriety because he's heavily involved with what they do. And to me, yeah, we don't have we have a few guys who are in the league making millions and things like that. But like, to me, I think we can do a better job of even leveraging them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think we reach out to Davenport enough. I don't think Woolen and stuff like we got to use those guys to like bridge the gap between UTSA athletics and some of the gaps we have in the city. Like, people will show up to see an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? So like, even that, but then you got some homegrown folks. Like to me, it's like, and I could be wrong about this, but how is Frank Harris not a formal ambassador for UTSA? He has a smile that can light up a room. When you say UTSA nowadays, we're still talking about him almost on every podcast. He gets a reference to this day. He hasn't been there for a season. So like, it'd be great to see these people as some formal ambassadors, give them some sort of perk or something like that, or even give them a little money bump or something like that. Some of the marketing budget. It ain't got to be nothing big, but like, give them a reason to want to go and so, I mean, listen, Dub or Dravion, he does a lot in the community in San Antonio. He leads the what is it, the San Antonio chapter or the Texas chapter of the NFLPA, or what is it, NFLPA, or not NFLPA, that's the wrong thing, sorry, but the NFL sort of the like retired players club that they have. He like leads that. He has like the 210 development thing where he's going out and he's training a lot of kids and things like that. He's a big name out in San Antonio that has reach. I guarantee you he can help you fill seats and help you get season tickets sold. Same with David Glasgow, same with Frank Harris's, same with some of the other guys that they got that are that were notable players at UTSA that has a good reputation around the city. That to me is just an easy slam dunk. It's an easy slam dunk. And yeah, I know you're talking about new faces, but like, we're not even taking advantage of the old faces. We're not taking advantage of the old faces. And to me, listen, although I do have a marketing degree, I have not taken a role that they have. So I'm not here to question the job of those folks. I think they do the best they can with the limited resources they have. But I think some of these things are home runs because a lot of these guys do want to help. They do want to be involved, but they aren't. And I can tell you from conversations I've had with a lot of former players that guys are upset that it's one thing that we have crossed the bridge of like, oh yeah, we're welcome now. Like, we weren't at one point, or it didn't feel that we weren't at one point, but we're past that like 100%. Which that's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. They reach out all the time and say, hey, like, come to this like event or something like that. They do those type of things. But now it's about taking that next step because guys do want to help. I spent a lot of time on that one, didn't I? Batford says, what can UTSA do to encourage people to donate to our NIL? It seems like a really tough and sensitive subject, but I feel like there's a stone that's unturned and we just haven't found it. Oh, I absolutely agree with that. But I mean, everything that I was just saying is, I think, another way to bridge that gap, man. Like, you need to put people in front of the audience that people recognize and they want to donate to. Like, to me, the easiest slam, everybody talks about like, oh, why don't they just parade Harris around? Why don't they? Is that too obvious for them? You know, is that like too obvious? And maybe he just doesn't want to, and that's fair too, right? He's a grown man; he can do what he wants. Maybe he doesn't want to, but like I don't know. You can parade somebody like that around. You know, you think he wouldn't? He wouldn't. I mean, there's a lot of ways I could spin this, but like without boring you guys with like marketing tactics, and things like that. I just think that someone like that with the influence they have, especially on a younger generation, um, it should be not easy, but there's just some low hanging fruit that I don't think we're taking advantage of. I can't speak for the big things. I can't speak for the big time stuff, right? But I it's just some low hanging fruit. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to come down on them too hard, but I'm just like, I know people right now that have told me straight up, I would donate to NIL, but I don't like the way they do X, Y, and Z. And people with not small pockets. I've tried to convince them myself, but there's other things they don't. I did not help. I cannot undo some of the way that some of these folks feel about this type of thing. And I think that's interesting. And I think, a conversation with some of these folks should be had about that. Like there should be sort of like, hey guys, let's all get together and talk about how we can do this. But we want to hear from y'all on what y'all think. I think that's an easy thing to do. There's a lot of guys with a lot of opinions. There's a lot of guys who are successful. And I'll be honest, can even throw myself in that pot. I donate a little bit. I probably could donate more. I actually am going to donate more, but it's just one of those things where it's like, if I was engaged more, I probably would donate a lot more, 100%. So yeah, a lot of my peers are in that same position as well too, or they feel similarly. Amador is the face of the program, has Manu Ginobili vibes. That's a good call. That's a good call. I don't disagree. It's Rab says, what show? At this point, we lucky to get a game recap for free from them. Probably going to have to pay for the game recaps when we play Texas A&M this year. Houston people the worst. You know what? I'm not. Dude, I love Itch Rab. He's like one of my favorite people. He tells it like it is. Shout out to my boy Itch Rab. Let's see. NIL fundraiser O-line versus D-line eating contest. Oh, you can't do that one. I'm with you, but you can't do that one. You can't do that one. You might could. You have to have a limit. The coaches will probably be upset. Max the Meme says, as for my question earlier, I was saying that there are more highlights being shown. There are more highlights being shown or clips? I was saying that there are more highlights being shown or clips. I'm still kind of confused. I can't lie. As for my question, am I hearing this right, chat? As for my question earlier, I was saying that there are more highlights being shown. I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I think if I'm understanding your question right, I don't think they're doing enough. I don't. Like I said, what the spring is for the supporter, the fan, the viewer of UTSA. I'm just going to talk about fans and supporters of UTSA. It should give people a little bit of excitement for what's to come, like almost a precursor to the season. And I tweeted this the other day. It just feels flat and weird, And I get some people like, oh, we should do stuff in the dark because we don't want, bro. I am not the one for let's just hide everything. Players want exposure. I said this on the podcast or two before. Players want exposure. They need exposure. How are they going to build their personal brand so they can even get more NIL money? like, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get like, I don't want to upset anybody, but it does not surprise me that we are in the boat we are in from a NIL resource perspective. And the reason I say that is because I don't think UTSA helps themselves in a lot of it. And to me, I'm just like, why don't you just copycat? Like, there are schools who are doing their thing when it comes to this, and they are creative. There are some people and some people I see on social media. I follow them. I'm looking at all this NIL. I'm super interested in the NIL side of it. I'm a contracts person. I've been in, like, I'm talking like, I've been in the contract space for the better part of a decade now. And so I'm into all the contract, what was guaranteed here, who's getting what, so on and so forth. And I follow all this stuff. And a big part of that, and I kind of go back to like my marketing background or whatever, but like, is the branding that these students, kids, and even the schools are doing for people to get their notoriety. And like I said, I'm not surprised we're in this situation, because you can just look over and see what these other folks are doing and say, hey, they're doing this. Obviously, there's some resource constraints that would put us in a situation where we can't do some of those things. But, bro, at the end of the day, like, look at what these people are doing and just do that. I digress. Last one here. The roundup for Rowdy at the concession stands help raise money, but since we don't run the concession stands, it's hard to get workers to push it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You never know. You never know. I'm sure there's going to be a campaign or something around that to where UTSA is going to push that pretty hard. At least they should. I don't think they'll just miss that opportunity. I think it is an opportunity that can be looked at. I seen something the other day. Coastal Carolina is actually offering free concessions. Like, you can go, if you go to one of their games, bro, you're getting a hot dog, some popcorn, a drink, and like something else. I think a piece of candy or something for free. Everybody. That's nuts. You want to talk about incentivizing people to come to a game? You might get a couple homeless folks. It's like, yo, I might as well go in and support these guys. Just buy a cheap ticket and you get a full course meal, bro. I don't know if y'all seen that, but I think check out Coastal Carolina. They're doing free concessions. That's insane. But that's what I mean. Like, people, I'm not saying we do that because we're not in a position to do something like that. I don't even know if they are. But like, the reason I say that is because, like, I see all this creativity from these other programs and stuff like that, and I always feel like we lag behind in a lot of ways. And I would like us to not do that. No, I did not get to every single topic I wanted to discuss today, but we are at time. I actually have a meeting that I'm 1 minute late for. So anyway, I'm sorry, but it's Raps. He said something else. I have to read it. Do I got to make another hype vid for everyone on Twitter again? The thing is, I don't want them to embarrass me by losing again. Please do. We enjoy those. But peace out. I'll catch you guys next week, same time. I'll see you. Peace.